Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good morning and welcome to a live podcast, How to Fight CPS with Bob Pace. You just heard attorney Vincent W. Davis, a professional dependency juvenile family lawyer that's been fighting CPS for 35 years. He is a trial attorney. He has many experiences of getting your children back for fighting CPS. In fact, he's also a trial attorney. And furthermore, he can do civil lawsuits against CPS for all kinds of things. And he has won cases both in state and federal courts over $1 million, several $1 million. So that was Mr. Davis, and he was talking about a special podcast that he has. It's a Zoom meeting for questions and answers to go over the steps to fight CPS. I will show again at the end of my show, but for school members, it's free. To join the school, there's a link for that too. There's 2 links there that you'll have to see. Now, I'm glad that you found me. You found me on Facebook, Fight CPS with Bob Pace, and that's how come you're in this room, and I'm glad you are. Now, what is CPS? For some of you who don't know, I call it the Child Protection System. Now, the Child Protection System has many names over a lot of different states and different counties. But everybody pretty much knows the CPS phenomenon with the Agency of Social Services. It's a branch that deals with the protection of our children from neglect and abuse. It also is supposed to help out families with the need of food, housing, clothing, medical, and public education for the children, and also work and help you find work. And so they're supposed to do that also. Furthermore, the third thing is if they have to break your children apart from the family because of extreme extreme violence, or they're in danger, they are supposed to do what's called family reunification. That's where they're supposed to bring the family back in and have you reunite with your family, because they've found out that the best parents are the biological parents. But unfortunately, I myself and other people have found that CPS is corrupt, meaning that they're not what they're made out to be. They're not transparent. They'll take your children into foster care by trafficking, which is illegal. They also alienate your children from the parents. They do the worst things, alienation, and they also do the foster care. So that's who CPS is, and we'll talk more about them later in the show. Now, to know about how to interact with this podcast, is the first way is to be in this room. You found me, and I'm broadcasting on YouTube, and I'm using StreamYard application. And just by being in this room and doing emojis like smiley faces, thumbs up, send me stars, it'd be nice. Also, if you want to follow me, check below, and then if you want notified of when I'm going live, check below. But that's the second way of interacting with this podcast. The third way is to be a host. And To be a host is all you're going to do is schedule a time you want. Now, I'm on every day of the week, 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday. I have a morning podcast and evening podcast. My morning typical is at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for an hour. My evening one is 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for an hour. And I really look forward to seeing you each and every time. And here we are to help you with your CPS case. Now, to get on the show, you just would email my show producer. Her name is Grace. She works behind the scenes. I'm glad to see her back. I hope everything went all right for her. And she's very valuable. I want to thank her for what she helps me with. We had a little glitch in the room with groups joining in, but we got all the groups back up. And we had, for the first time yesterday, 3 or 4 people. And we had um, uh, one. One comment. Now, that leads me to you that you need to write that email, pick the date. I want Bob's Friday evening show or Bob's Wednesday morning show or Bob's Monday show. Send it off to Grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. And she will contact you with the link, and you just click and join that link. And if you happen to fall off, use that link again. It's still good for that show. And then also should talk to you about what you can do and not do on the podcast, like it's no smoking or eating on the podcast. And we do not show the children's names or the judges' names or the social workers' names. And then she'll work with your lighting and so forth. If you have a computer, please use it. If you don't, a phone is okay. But that second way, I look forward to having you on the podcast. I have up to 9 people, total of 10 people on my podcast, which is a lot of people. I think the max I had is 4. But anyway, just to be on the podcast, just email to Grace at vincentwdavis.com. Now let me think here for a second. Okay. I just don't think maybe I did not cover it. I thought I did, but um, that's the third way. The second way was to show a comment. Now, I have it up there on my screen to show a comment. And what you do is you type in the comment. This could be a question or a comment. It has to be about CPS. We're here to talk about CPS. Please show me your name. That's your first name, the city or county you're from, the state, and if you're from a country, your city and your state and country would really help out a lot. Yes, I do say countries because we're open to anybody with a CPS question or concern. You know, questions or concerns or comments. We love to help you all. And I have right now about 14 countries that have called in with comments, and it's very interesting because um, they too have CPS issues and so forth. I got something in my throat here. Now, the countries, by the way, as I said, there's 14 of them. I have Bangladesh and New Delhi, India. I have a country in the Middle East. It was in Arabic, so I don't know which country it is. I have the continent of Africa. I've had Liberia in the northwest along the coast. In Central Africa, I have Rwanda near Lake Victoria. Then on the east coast, got Mozambique, opposite from Madagascar Island. And down south, I have the west province of South Africa. Going up to Europe, I've had England, Scotland, Wales, part of the United Kingdom, and Denmark and Sweden. Then across the pond to the North America, Canada, I've had several of the provinces text in. And then I've had all 50 states, including Washington, D.C., either call in or text in the United States. Now, I've also had Indian tribes, both from Canada and both from the USA. And um, these are the Native American Indians in the United States, and in Canada they're called the First Nation. And so they're the Indians that came across from Asia over to Alaska and settled in Alaska and all through Canada down in America. Of course, back then when the Indians lived, there was no Canada, no USA, no Mexico. It was all wild. So they went ahead and settled all the way down south to South America, and they further spanned way out to the Pacific and the Polynesian cultures. And there's been some talk that people migrated from Africa via the reed boats. And then, of course, the Kontiki expedition did the ones in the Pacific. I'm always throwing that information because I'm trying to make it interesting. And, just that, this thing about native and, the American Indians and the Canadian First Nation people were the first immigrants to settle in the New World, long before the Vikings, long before the Spanish or the other Europeans, the Portuguese, the Dutch, the English. They all came over the Spanish and so forth. And so, with that being said, they are the first Americans. Okay, first Americans, and if you're born here, you're now a native. That's the thing is people don't understand the word native. Native means you're from the country, you're born in that country. So we have Native Americans, we have Native Indians, we have Native Europeans. We have many ethnic groups there. But all we need to do is treat each other nice and be nice. And the Indian tribes have gone through a lot because over 150 years ago, they were put on reservations. The Cherokee were moved to Oklahoma. And I've had several Cherokee members on my podcast. And the Lakota Sioux are from Rosebud, South Dakota. They were the Black Hills. And it was sad with their tragedy of all the buffalo was killed off, and all the Indians were sent to schools like children's schools. The hair was cut off, the customs and stuff. And also, the Indians were abused uh, while you know uh, they were taken, and they had to pass an act in 1978 called the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act, which mandates that the child protection system must ask and find out if the people that they're investigating are Native American Indians. And if they are, they need to find out what tribe they are. There's 548 federal tribes in the United States. And so we got a call to come in. That is great. Um, Good morning. Can you hear me? Here, let me turn my volume up. Who am I talking to?
This is Deanna Robinson.
Your last name is Robertson, and what's your first name?
Deanna.
Anna. Glad to meet you, Anna Robinson, and I'm glad that you called in.
No.
Oh,
Deanna.
is it spelled Viana?
Deanna.
Okay. And what part of the world are you from?
Sorry.
What part of the world are you from?
No. Deanna.
Canada. Canada.
Ohio.
Okay. And what city or county are you calling from?
The city is Marietta, and the county is Washington.
Oh, wow. You didn't have to give me both, but that is great. Well, I'm glad to have you here. What I was doing, we're going to let you talk in a few minutes. I'm going to finish telling people how they interact with this podcast. I was talking about um, the comments that people can make, and I was telling about where the countries are, and I'd continue on from the USA to Mexico, and then down to South America to Guyana, that is east of Venezuela, north of Brazil, on the east coast of South America, then across the Pacific to the land down under
Wow.
Australia. That's all these 14 countries. And so they all call in or text in a comment. I've had a very interesting group in this podcast. They all have issues too. It's the east coast of Australia, what's called the Gold Coast, Sydney area, and then Melbourne at the state of Victoria on the south coast of Australia. So I've had 14 countries. I've had all the 50 states, and several, I've had Canada and so forth. Anyway,
Yeah.
to make comments, all you need to do is type them in and try to be complete with your case, so we don't go back and forth. Now, the fourth way
Right.
to talk about is to call into my show, which you've done. You're ahead of the game, Miss Robinson. Is it Miss or Mrs. Robinson?
Mrs.
Okay, Mrs. Robinson. I remember that song with the Garfunkel, Mrs. Robinson. Anyway, that's a pretty name. So the fourth way to interact with this podcast is to do what Mrs. Robinson did and call me in at 626-698-0990. So I've told you the four ways. One, by being in the room listening, and then two is texting comments, three is to be a guest, and four is to call in. So can you tell me a little about your case? Like, what's your family makeup?
Well, I've been fighting with CPS like 4, 5.
Let's say
And
5 years. Okay.
I have made a video with Vince Davis.
Oh, good.
I had used to talk to him, and then I found this other lady, and she just backstabbed me like last week. So
Oh no! What did she do to you?
backstabbed me. I
Oh,
mean, she was
yeah.
telling me, I had hope and all this stuff, and send her, a lot of money, and she blocked my phone number.
Oh,
So now I can't get a hold of her.
I'm so sorry, Mrs. Robinson. When you were talking to Mr. Davis, you made that video. Were you on his podcast?
Yes,
Oh, okay. So, when your case
I'd
gets,
like for it to go vital, but I don't know if it did.
oh, okay. Well, Mr. Davis may run the video. I don't. It's up to him. But question: how did your case? I mean, how was your family makeup in the beginning? Were you a husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend? Or what were you in relationship to the
No,
children?
well, I'm married, but the CPS took my granddaughter.
Oh, okay. So this is your granddaughter. Okay, excuse me. This is your daughter who has a child that was caught up in the CPS.
Yes,
Okay. Were you ever in the child
and
protection system?
was I
Meaning,
what?
were
Excuse
you
me?
ever had a case with CPS? You yourself, when you raised your daughter?
No.
Okay,
They
good.
say I did.
Oh.
They say I did.
Okay.
It has all kinds of like 30 incidents supposed to have happened, but I don't remember any of them.
Okay. Okay. When you had your daughter,
And they have
were you married at the time, or was this a boyfriend girlfriend, or?
yes.
Okay, you were married at the
I was
time.
married when I
Had your daughter.
had my kids. Yes,
Yes. And how many kids did you have?
I had 4.
Okay. Now, one of your kids is having problems with CPS. Is that what you're calling about?
Yes.
Okay. And with her case, how did it begin with her? Is she married to the father?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a marriage
I
now.
mean, She is now. She wasn't.
Okay,
She
in
was
the
with
beginning,
the father.
no,
They
in the
weren't married
beginning
at the
they
time.
were girlfriend boyfriend. Okay, and
Right.
what was that she was accused of by CPS? What happened in the very beginning?
She was. Well, the dad was in cross. I can't even say it now. I'm sorry.
Incarcerated?
He was in jail.
Okay, he was incarcerated. Did he commit he must have committed a crime to be there, but
Right.
did that incarcerated it before CPS got involved, or was it he was going to go to jail?
I think so.
Okay, all right. So he's
And
incarcerated,
then they
and the
accused
mother is
my daughter
right.
of ODing.
Accused her of what again?
Of ODing, been on drugs.
Okay, she accused your daughter of drugs. Now, how did that come about?
Yes.
Did someone make a complaint against your daughter?
Yes.
Okay,
Because I don't know.
right.
Who
It could be
was.
a professional or it could be a lay person doing some retaliation. We don't know. So anyway, CPS is alerted, and this is the problem about CPS. When they're alerted, they believe it's true, and within 24 hours they'll come out and investigate. Now, did they call her or come to her house? I'm sorry for the background noise. I'm broadcasting outside about a mile from the beach. I'm in Southern California. Now, did they go to her house or did they call her first? Okay, I think I lost. Okay, if you still hear me, I will try to call you back because I think I lost you.
Brother. Yeah, let's go. Good, man.
I'm calling Mrs. Robinson.
Hello?
Yeah, Mrs. Robinson?
Yes.
Hi, this is Bob Pace. You were talking to me and the fire trucks came and then I couldn't hear anymore.
Yeah, we got disconnected somehow.
That's okay. And that's why I called you back. Okay, so we
Yeah.
were talking about your daughter was accused of drugs, and I asked a question. Did they come to see her or did they call her?
They showed up at her house.
So they came first. So they're doing an investigation. Now, did she open the door or she kept the door closed?
Okay, that I don't know, but they had the cops there, so I figured they planned to take my granddaughter
Yeah.
regardless.
Well, a lot of people, and I tell this because of my rule number 3, is don't open the door. You know, that's the old rule, don't open it to strangers. You don't have to.
Right.
Also, you don't have to surrender your kids. They have to have a warrant. And just because they're bringing the police doesn't mean you have to surrender your kids. They have to follow the law too. So anyway, they brought the police and they accused her of drugs. And so right away they thought their kids were in danger and they took the children, right?
Right.
Now, how many children did she have?
Well, she has 3.
All with the
they
same man or
took the
different men?
daughter.
I'm sorry, what?
Do what?
All with the same man or different men?
Different.
Okay. So the guy that she's incarcerated, he's incarcerated, she's married to, is he the father of the oldest child, the youngest child?
The youngest one.
Okay.
Which is my granddaughter that they
Right,
took.
right. Now there's 2 other children. Are they both girls or boys?
They're boys, but they're with their dad.
Right. They have another daughter. So while her husband's in jail, she had a relationship and had two other children, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, is that dad involved with the boys, your grandkids?
No.
So is he not helping out? I mean, you said they're with their dad. Does that mean they're living with them?
I mean, yeah, the boys is with their dad.
Okay, but they need their
And
mother too.
my granddaughter, dad, they're married. It wasn't when they took my granddaughter, though.
Oh,
My granddaughter was 2 when they took her. She's 7 now.
okay. So your
They won't let
granddaughter
me
was
see
taken,
her.
and what happened to your daughter?
Uh, well, nothing, I guess. I mean,
Did they test her?
um,
How they know
well,
she
I
was on
think
drugs? How did she know she had taken drugs? Did they test her?
I don't know who called. Probably the dad's stepdad, I think, called.
Okay.
And
He wants nothing to do
my
with your
daughter
daughter.
told them to
He know,
call me,
yeah.
and they did not.
So
That they are wicked and horrible people.
now, who you say they are? The social workers?
Yeah, the CPS people.
Right.
All
They
of
are
them.
very, very
Every
horrible.
one of them
In
is.
fact, there's a person from Ohio is a social worker, and what she liked to do is she put on her Facebook page an ad from 1848. It was an old ad where it said black children for sale. I can't use the word they used in the old days in 1848 because it's against community standards. But anyway, she put an ad up today in 2024 from Ohio. She's a social worker, she says on her Facebook page. And she did it to say that there's still black children for sale. I don't think it's a good ad to do. She's black herself, the social worker. But putting an ad advertising black children for sale doesn't help anything. And that was before the Civil War. That was over 140 years ago.
Yeah.
So Ohio social workers are kind of strange. I've already talked to about 10 families from Ohio, from different parts of Ohio, Cincinnati, Cleveland, um, you know, your place, so they've not been too good, the social workers. They lie, they cheat. They're in there because it's all money. They don't want nothing but money.
Right. They're all about money.
Yep. And so, well, it's $1 trillion business, and there's nobody watching them. There's no watchdogs. Like what I'm saying is that in Kentucky right now, there's $1 million unaccounted for in CPS, and they're being investigated. And one person is a social worker who's been indicted on pilfering the funds. He got 400,000 of it, but they're still trying to find out who got the other money. So, it's really a very bad thing these social workers do. They really are bad. So, your daughter had your grandchild taken away, and where was she placed?
She went to a foster home.
Did they not try to put
And
her with
now,
you? They try not to put her with you?
no, because they say that I had a history, and that's why they wouldn't. And they found fault with my family.
Okay.
They wouldn't
So they couldn't
They
put
wouldn't
in.
let me have her.
Okay.
My oldest daughter, they wouldn't have let her have her.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That hurts, And now you say she's 7 years old, right?
Yeah.
Now, has your daughter's rights to your granddaughter been terminated?
Yes.
Oh boy. So has she been
And then
adopted?
I was told that
Is
my
she been?
granddaughter was adopted by this lady, but I don't know how true that is either.
Yeah. Well, the bad thing about foster care is that CPS likes to recruit families to do foster care because real adoption is totally different. Real adoption takes years. You have to go through a very extensive vetting program where you're checked out state and federalized to make sure you have nothing bad against you. And it takes a couple years and
Right.
lots of money. But in foster care, the child protection system just recruits parents, a dime a dozen, puts through very little training, and instantly puts the children there because they need money. Once they get the child over to foster care, they start collecting money. And I'm talking like $20,000 per child. I know
Yeah.
firsthand because that's how much I had three children. It was $60,000 a month they were getting.
Wow.
And so they are corrupt. They are corrupt. So,
I just want to sue them and put them all in prison.
yeah, yeah, I don't blame you. So, what can I do for you today? I understand your situation now. You have your daughter, 7 years old, adopted by a foster care family. Has she been abused in that family?
I don't know. They won't. I don't know. I don't know where she's at. I don't know
Yeah.
who has her. I don't know anything. And then I told the CPS, because I worked at the time, and I got every other weekend off, and one day off, through the week. And I told them every time I was off, I took my granddaughter. Well, they didn't believe that I had her as much as I said, and
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I had her every weekend. I was off, day through the week, and when the mother, even worked, I watched my granddaughter, for a few hours or whatever, and they didn't believe me. They called me a liar,
Yeah. Well,
and I even had like four of my grandchildren together, and I took them to Old Man's Cave. Well, they didn't believe that either.
oh,
I went, I did a lot of stuff with my grandchildren.
I know being a
If I wasn't
grandparent.
working or busy or whatever,
Yeah.
and they didn't believe any of that. Well, you guys are liars.
So, what do you, if you don't have any rights and you're not, I don't know if you could be a guardian of your granddaughter because, you said you have a history, so you can't be that either. So,
But
um,
the history they have isn't true. It's false. Because when I went to file for my divorce from my first husband, um, he called CPS on me every little time he had and said stuff, and none of it's true. I want my records from CPS cleared, and I
yes.
even asked them to, and they won't do it.
Well, let me see if I can help you out there. I want to say hello to Faye Manley, who came into the room. Welcome, Faye. Hopefully, you can hear me. We have a guest, Mrs. Robinson from Ohio, who's talking about her granddaughter, her 7-year-old granddaughter, that she would like to, see and so forth. And her daughter was suspected of drugs, and I don't know her man that she married. Her daughter married a man, but he's incarcerated. But Faye is from Richmond, Kentucky. She's a single mom. She has two children. She spent in her childhood and teenage years growing up in foster care 5 times. And she's got a high school degree and she got a college degree in nursing. And now, when she grew up, she started having children. Her first child was her son, and he's a special needs child. Then she had a daughter, and the CPS workers wanted her daughter. So they told her that she's got to make a choice. Either you take your son or you take your daughter. Now, how can you be fit to take care of your son and not your daughter or vice versa? It was really strange. So she's been fighting for 13 years. She just got the case reopened again. So she's still trying to do something that she wants her daughter to know that her mom cared. It's really hard because when they grow up, they don't. see a lot. So anyway, I'm glad that the yes, I can see you, Faye. I can see you, Faye. Yes, you're doing fine. And whatever you did or whatever the room is now, it seems like we're back to normal. We're starting to get comments in and stuff. Now, Miss Robinson, you're in.
Yes.
What was the city again in Ohio?
Yes.
What city was it?
I'm Marietta.
Marietta. Okay.
Marietta, Ohio.
Marietta, Ohio. CPS. Marietta. I think it's with an R, probably. There, M-A-R. That's what it is. A-R-I-E. I-E-T-T-A. Marietta, Ohio, CPS.
So when's the next time I can call you?
Oh, tonight too. Let me look up what the things here. I'm looking up Marietta, Ohio, CPS. How do I clean my records? You basically have to go. Let me see. Are CPS records public in Ohio? Children's records do not constitute public records and are not subject to the Ohio Public Record Act, which provides for prompt inspection of public records and requires that copies of existing records be provided in a reasonable time period. So, how long does it stay on your record? They say it stays for 1 year after a finding, but that's in West Virginia. That's not Ohio. But anyway, going back to your case, it sounds like do you have to go? Is that what it is?
Not now.
I'm sorry, what?
Not right yet.
Oh, good, because we still got 15 minutes of my show, 20 minutes, things like that. So, what other questions? I think you can clean your record. And that's a good idea. You need to do that.
But how?
Well, you have to go to the court. I just looked it up. The best part to start is my rule number 4, which is spend 60 hours on the internet and searching it. What you do, like I just did, is you take your city and the state, and then you type CPS after it. I'm just trying to find it. I had it here, and all of a sudden it disappeared on me. Oh, brother. Oh, no, go with that. Yeah, I typed in Marietta, Ohio, CPS, how do I clean my records? And they tell you have to go to the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services. It's https://jfs.ohio.gov.
Okay. Okay.
Now, it's the clerk of records has all the paperwork you file through the courts, and that you do. So here was a comment. You should send your request to local county DHHR office where your CPS case was investigated. You can get all the records that apply to you or they're missing. So you can get your records. Okay. And that's a start. Is a local county DHHR. And
It says call CPS, but I can't. The name's not there.
well, the Marietta, Ohio CPS, how to claim my records, they give me the Washington County of Ohio. The clerk records all the way to the court. So they give me www.washingtongov.org. Is Washington County near you?
Yeah, I live in Washington County.
Okay. Well, you need to get your records first to see what's there. So you need to,
Okay.
you got a paper and pencil?
Yeah.
You need to write down HTTPS
Wait a minute. HPP.
TT, then
Okay.
P, then PS, then colon
Okay.
//, and then you got www, that's World Wide Web, www dot. Then you
Okay.
spell out Washington Gov, gov.org.
Okay.
Then you do
I will
a
look this up.
forward caret and put the clerks of the court. Clerks hyphen of hyphen courts.
Okay.
Let me see if I can copy that. Yeah, I can copy. I'm going to put it in the comment section. Copy it. And so I'm going to,
Okay.
this will go to all the rooms and it'll be repeated 7 times. You'll see it. It's posted. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much.
So that's the first step. I'm just saying is that you're gonna want to go there, and what it does is shows a picturesque picture of the Ohio River and the Ohio landscaping with looks like a houseboat. Anyway, it says the clerk of the courts welcome, and when you go to the clerk of the courts, it's probably going to say, please take a few minutes to view the many services of both the title and the legal division. A Washington County Clerk of Courts, I provide the citizens of Washington County the service of vitally needle. I have increased emphasis on customer service. Together with my staff, await the opportunity to serve the needs of Washington County. If you have concerns, comments, or unsatisfactory, please contact me. So they sound pretty friendly. So there's a lot of stuff that I don't have time to read here that will help you, okay?
Okay.
And that's going to be a start. That may not be the uh, thing is, but I tell people my rule number 4: spend 60 hours researching things, and the format is easy to type in. You just type in the city, the state, CPS, and your question, and it pops up all the time. It's how you arrange your question
Okay.
search, how you can find things. Okay?
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Well, yeah. Now, is there anything else that you have a question about?
Not at the moment.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Mrs. Robinson, for contacting me and telling me about your story. I hope your daughter is well, and I hope you get to see your granddaughter.
I hope so. It's been 7 years.
Oh, that's long. That's way too long. But thank you to call in. But you can call me either at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time or 7 o'clock at night. Though on Sunday, I have church, so I start at 8 o'clock. And on Friday night lights, I have a football game. at 7 o'clock, so I start 4 o'clock on Friday. Those are my only two exceptions on
Okay.
my time. All right, so I'll be talking to you, Miss Robinson. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much.
Okay, we just had a caller call in. She was a grandmother, wants to see her granddaughter, and it sounds like she's got some baggage she has to take care of, and I helped her locate it. That rule number 5 that I give all the time. Uh, it's just great. You can spend 60 hours and find out so much about your case or what you want to do. It's just how you phrase it. How you phrase it. So, for any of you that happen to be in Ohio and you wanted to court, that's Washington Court there, I have it posted in all my rooms there. Now, Faye, is there something you like to talk about? You like to call in, or you want to talk about the rules, or talk about CPS, or about cases? What would you like to do, Faye? Hopefully, Faye will want to talk about something. And while Faye's thinking about that, I'm going to talk to you about my first rule, and that is a rule that you need to have an attorney. Why do you need an attorney? Because you're dealing with the worst government agency you can deal with. They're very corrupt. They lie. And they will hurt you. They'll bring you up and take you down. Now, I'm talking about the CPS system. Now, I have an attorney. His name is Vincent Davis. He talked a little briefly at the beginning of my podcast, and he'll talk at the end. But he, he and I have a special thing where if you want to talk to him, he'll have a Zoom consultation with you. You can book a discounted Zoom consultation with attorney Vincent Davis for 30 minutes. And it's only for $60 for that 30 minutes. All you do is you go to his website, https:// candidly.com, CALENDLY.com /apps, APPTS, VWD /Bob Pace. And you go there and you take your credit card out and book that 30 minutes. And he'll gladly meet with you and talk about the strategies. And that's a special rate, but you got to go to that website. He's the real deal. As I told earlier, he's 35 years. He's been practicing law for a long time, and he's the attorney. Uh, I always say if you want to find an attorney, the best way to look for an attorney is you start off, are they a family juvenile dependency lawyer? Do they have that background? Second of all, you ask them, have they ever fought CPS on a civil lawsuit? Well, if they have, then that is a real good attorney, because most attorneys don't sue CPS. But you need to find an attorney. But I have Vincent Davis, who would love to talk to you. He has his Zoom questions answers on Saturday, and then here you can have a specialized talk to him, and he'll tell you about the strategies and how to fight CPS. CPS is like open heart surgery. If you're going to do open heart surgery, you're going to have yourself a medical doctor that's gone to medical school, that has an internship, and that has a license, and is mentored with another doctor for a period of time before he opens up your chest and works on your heart. So to fight CPS, you need that kind of attorney. Now, when you talk to him, you can talk to him about retaining him. He'll talk about a retainer. He has cases. He's from Arcadia, California, south of LA, but he has LA County cases, Orange County cases, San Bernardino County cases. He also has a case up in Northern California and a case in Oklahoma. He'll do all the 50 states. And the only thing that's a little bit more money when he goes away from his areas, because there's the airfare, transportation, ground transportation, the hotel, and eating out. So those are the additional expenses. But it's time to do your case. Everything will be the same whether he's in Arcadia or in Oklahoma. And so I really strongly encourage you that you do that, because I tell people fighting CPS is also like your Alice in Wonderland. You've fallen in that rabbit hole, you met the Chester Cat, and that Chester Cat send you every which way, not making any sense. Not making any sense at all. So it's really, really bad there. Now, with that, um, rule number one, I had him. I had him get my children back. And he's a good attorney from firsthand experience. And if I had more money, I'd do a retainer so that I could fight him with CPS and win lots of money back. But sometimes it takes money to make money, as they always say. Now, we have about 9 minutes left, and since I'm talking about my rules, let's go over the other rules. There's rule number one, as I say, is that um, you can get a court-appointed attorney for your kids and for yourself, but keep in mind that court-appointed attorney is just a criminal attorney, not a dependency lawyer, background lawyer attorney. Also, the attorney may have a backlog. I'm talking about the court-appointed attorney, uh, a backlog of other cases, maybe 30 other cases at one time. He won't have time for your case, and he will just quickly run through your case, and you're going to have to deal with whatever he comes up with. So I would get yourself a real attorney, and that's why I said Mr. Davis is available. You need to talk to him, and um, but rule number one is that you can't fight CPS without a real attorney. Now, rule number two is the paperwork things. You need to get a notebook, 3 ring, 3 inches thick, 8.5 by 11, with dividers, and put the dividers in there. Get about 20 dividers, and then divide your paperwork up accordingly. One of the most important documents is the timeline, or your incidents, all the incidents you come across, whether they're with the teachers, the at school, whether it's with the social workers, the policemen, or neighborhood where it is. You write down every incident, put down the date, the time, and the location, and then after you do that one, then what you do. Um, you put a sentence down there and describe what the incident was. You also put another sentence and find out um, the outcome of the incident. So that way it's 3 lines, skip a couple lines, then put the next incident, and so forth. A year from now, you'll be thankful you have that, because you can't remember everything. You can't remember everything for that. So try to have a notebook with all your paperwork. Rule three is the very important one. We don't answer doors. Too many people have been killed lately answering doors. Also, is a way to stall time talking to the social worker. Now, you will have to talk to the social worker. They'll leave a card or something if you don't answer the door. But don't let them in the house. They have to. Only 3 ways that social workers or the police can get in the house. The first way is that if you let them in, or a family member lets them in. If someone gives them permission, they'll come in. But that's not a very good idea, because you don't know what condition your home's in. Second, if there's intimate danger with the children, like domestic violence has gotten pretty heavy, if someone argues. If you argue in front of the children, don't do it. It's against the law. Children can get hurt. So if they're in intimate danger, then the police and the social worker can enter your home. The third way is they got to have a court order, a warrant, and it's issued by a judge in court, and they have to. they have to have that properly filled out and signed up. So that should have a wet signature. The clerk will emboss the wet signature with a hand stamp that raises the signature up. Then it's going to have the name of the parties that are being accused, the children's names, the allegations are listed there, and then their second and so that is a very important document. It cannot be a copy or a PDF file. It can't be shown on the computer. So it's very important to have that warrant. If they don't have the warrant, you can't surrender your kids. You can't let them in the house. Also, if you happen to encounter them outside, tell them you need to have your attorney present, that you're going to have to contact him, get their name and phone number, and you'll get back to them. But try not to talk to them. Talking to them could be really bad, especially if you have some of these exotic cars or something there. You got to be careful. But anyway, you got to be careful of you. You have to be careful of that document. Now, yes, Faye. Hi, Faye. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah. Hi, Faye. Did you want to add something?
Yeah, I tried to call the number, but it just rang.
Which number you tried to call? My 626 number?
Yeah, it just rang.
Huh. Because the girl before Mrs. Robinson called on it. I wonder what's wrong with that number.
Yeah, it just went to a machine. It just rang and wouldn't go. That's why I called in on this number.
Well, this number is working fine. You reached me here. I didn't have Vonage blocked. Let me see. No, she was the last number. I never saw your number, Faye. Anyway, what did you want to add, Faye? What did you want to add?
Baby, hush. Just the neighbors. I'm sorry, the dogs are barking.
That's okay.
I was trying to pull it up. So, okay, you know how when CPS forces parents into taking drug tests, drug screens, right?
Yes.
Well, we've had a lab here and a doctor here in Kentucky that has been brought up on fraud charges over these drug screens. Let's see, it says Kentucky doctor, Indiana hospital, part of $7 million settlement for alleged fraud. This is retired Kentucky doctor and Indiana hospital have agreed to make payments to settle a case in which they were accused of taking part in fraudulent billing. The publicly funded health programs, according to U.S. Department of Justice. This is the hospital physician medical center in Indiana is responsible for the largest payment of $5.2 million under the settlement, federal authorities said in a news release. The facility had a testing laboratory lab managed at one time, Medical Scientific of Indiana, which has since gone out of business, the release said. Through the alleged fraudulent conduct of the lab manager, the hospital billed for drug tests between December 2016 and September 2018 that were not used for medical purposes, the government charged.
Okay.
Federally funded health programs only reimburse labs for drug tests that are used to diagnose, to treat medical conditions. The alleged fraudulent bills from Physicians Medical Center were for tests on urine samples submitted from a homeless shelter and recovery programs that were used to check compliance by participants and not for medical purposes, according to the release. Several other people and businesses also agreed to make payments under the settlement, according to authorities. Those included Bobby Sturgeon, who was a sales representative for the hospital lab, Derek Arthur, who was a specimen collector for the lab. Sturgeon allegedly worked to get non-medical clients
such as the homeless shelter, to send samples to Physicians Medical Center lab, and author allegedly took part in getting a doctor to order drug tests, even though he knew they wouldn't be used in providing medical care, federal authorities said. So this is some of the labs that CPS uses when they do drug screens on parents.
That's why I always tell the parents to do your own drug test with your own health insurance. Need to take that as a backup.
That's the thing, though, Bob. Parents try to do that, and then the judge and CPS blocks them from being able to use those drug tests because they say it has to be through a court-approved lab company, and so they won't let you use yours.
Well, can you get the court-approved drug company?
Well, you'd have to know who the court-approved ones are, and that's not easy to find out who they are.
Well, let me do this, Faye. We're now over my time. We've gone an hour, and I need to show my ad after my show here.
Okay.
So let's talk about that on my evening podcast, okay?
Okay. All
We
right.
can talk more. Thank you, Faye. Thank you, Mrs. Robinson, and thank you all for the emojis that we got in the room. I want to hopefully you guys still keep fighting your case. God bless you and good luck. And I will see you tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Please listen to my attorney, Mr. Davis, because he'll come on next. So I say you have a great day, and please.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.